See, there are some offshoots while we are identifying ourselves with our minds, and we sometimes express them as the weaknesses of the mind. They say that the mind operates to deal with karma in time through many processes, and 5 of the processes which the mind uses to go through karma have been considered as negative processes, although they are very necessary to go through karma. What are those processes? The first is anger. The second is lust. Third is possessiveness, greed. And fourth is attachment. And finally, fifth is ego, haughtiness, ankar. These are 5. Lobh, moh, ankar. The mind operates through these in order to go through karma. And yet, because mind uses these, they affect the attention in a very negative way, so that meditation becomes very difficult in the presence of these 5 processes. When you have anger, if you have ever noticed, when you anger, your attention gets scattered, spread out. The anger does not allow the concentration of attention to focus within. So anger automatically rules out the possibility of good meditation. Lust lowers the attention to the lower chakras, and your attention does not stay even where it's in the normal way, and therefore it goes and travels to the lower chakras and descends. You can actually see it descending, becomes more difficult to do this. Possessiveness scatters your attention to items which you want to possess, and therefore it goes out of you. And very difficult when you want to do meditation, the very thing that you are trying to possess or are possessing pull you out. So while these greed, possessiveness, anger, lust, they all wind up in an ego, the I-ness that wants to assert that I am more important than you or anybody else. Therefore, you argue with the I. You want to dominate with the I. And therefore, the I comes up in front. Instead of sitting in the center of your head, comes in front. And a person who's even a little bit acquainted with the meditation can read the thoughts of your I at that stage, and that's called antashkarana reading, reading of your thoughts on your forehead. So the I moves right in front and wants to dominate whatever is there. These 5 elements of the functioning of the mind are all non-conducive to meditation. They come in the way of meditation, because meditation requires that you withdraw your attention. It's very difficult to tackle these 5. When you want to tackle them, you can suppress them, but they don't go away. They say that if you feel angry, you can not shout, not yell, but you're yelling inside. And the expansion of the consciousness or the attention is identical, even if you don't speak. Even if you say, I am under control, I'm very angry, but I won't speak up. You're still angry. Or you have lustful thoughts. You say, I didn't act upon my lustful thoughts, they were only in my head. You still dropped your attention. All these 5 processes which we are using on a daily basis for our karma come in the way. Then becomes very difficult. So how do we catch this? This is called the problem of 2022. It's called the problem of of starting, this affects that, meditation affects these, and these affect meditation. So where do we start from? The true way of doing it is to start with meditation in spite of them. And then gradually, the meditation itself, the success in meditation can be measured directly by the reduction of these. And the anger is the first to be noticed, because anger is more visible than any other of these so-called mental vices. Anger is visible to others also. The other things you may be hiding. Anger is generally visible in a flushed face, even if you don't speak. But with meditation, you are able to lower the level of anger. With meditation, you are able to lower all these levels gradually. Ego goes last of all. But as they go away, you can notice the difference, and eventually meditation has to reach a certain point of crossing the Trikuti region of the mind, and where pictorially they have described the three mountains of beginning, middle and end in Trikuti. Lying behind them is a big lake. There's a pictorial description. Big lake called Mansarovar Lake. In the Mansarovar Lake, our souls, which are ascending like black crows, that's how the description has been given. Black crows, they have a dip in that Mansarovar Lake, then they are freed from the effects of these five, and it comes out like a swan. So they describe this, that the soul becomes from a crow to a swan by having a dip in the Mansarovar Lake just above Trikuti, and these five vices sit on the bank of that lake like five little boys. And at that stage they say goodbye and they actually walk away. In real experience, in meditational experience, you can have that kind of experience. So these five boys run away at that stage. After that, you don't have a problem with them. Then your karma is still there. The karma requires that you are working in a business, in an office, where you have to show anger to an employee who is not working properly. Then it's pure play acting. But you are not really angry, you're just showing it. Because you still go through karma, but without the negative influence of these five. I remember when one of the so-called mystics came to the Dera, and he began to talk to people. I was talking from Sachkhand. I said, a man who has gone to Sachkhand doesn't really talk like that. I'm talking from Sachkhand. So he gave descriptions of this. So if some of you remember, I tried a trick called the safety pin trick. I took out a little pin, and while he was talking, I was young. I knew I could run faster than him. So I pricked him. He got so angry and mad. And I remember that when he got up to run after me, all I said to him then was, where have the five boys gone? You see? Because that experience, he understood what it means. Where have the five boys gone? The five boys have not disappeared from the Mansarovar Lake yet. So the point is that these very mental activities, they go through life and they make us do things to pay off our karma. Supposing we had no anger, we can't pay off some of the karma. Some people have been angry with us in the past. So we go through that. But when you have controlled these things through meditation up to that level of consciousness, then you can play act very well, still go through karma without any real anger. When the dissolution comes, they dissolve along with the rest. On the other hand, those who are on the top of Parbrahm do not go. They remain along with the Sachkhand. They are not in the tunnel. They are not in the cave. Yeah, Pete just asked me the same question on behalf of Walt. And I gave him an answer, but I can give an answer to everybody now that you have raised it. The question that Walt has asked is, when he watches a DVD or YouTube and hears a talk being given by me, or a talk given by a perfect living master, does that amount to darshan? So the answer is, if you have seen that person before, personally, in life, then you see a picture or a video or a YouTube, it is as good as darshan. Because by seeing that, you are remembering the live meeting you have had with that person. But if you have never met that person before and are just seeing a picture or a video or YouTube for the first time, it's not darshan. When we look at a picture, we do not appreciate the picture because of the picture itself. We appreciate it immediately brings back to us the memory of the live person that we have met. And that's why it functions like darshan. And that would be earnest seeking. If you seek earnestly, it's as good as seeking by reading books, by going into satsangs, by any means. So long as you're seeking earnestly, you do eventually get darshan. But seeking by itself is only a darshan if you have already met somebody whom you're seeking, and then you're missing that person inside, which is different, then that is like darshan. Even if you can imagine the face of a master, that means you have not reached the radiant form of the master which comes automatically and guides you inside. But in your pure imagination, you do dhyan. Dhyan means contemplation. You contemplate the form of the master, it's darshan. The only requirement is that when you contemplate the form of the master who has initiated you, then you must repeat the mantra he has given you at the same time when you're looking at that image. If the image is just being made up by your mind and is not real darshan, it will disappear. If the image stays, it will be darshan. The part of the face, it doesn't matter if you see the whole body of the master or not. The part of the face that retains its existence after repeating 5 names is the eyes and the forehead of a master. You will notice if the mind tries to make up a picture, either from a picture you are watching or by imagination, and you repeat the 5 words, the eyes and the forehead disappear. The rest can stay. So therefore it's a very big precaution you can take whether the mind is just making up an image or it's really the master darshan. With the 5 names being repeated and even your imaginary face, if it stays, it is darshan. Yes, remembering the master is as good as a meditation. Remembering in any form of the master is meditation. If anything that happens in life, you say, thank you, master, for this happening. Or, sorry, master, you could have done better. It's still meditation. Master, I'm really angry at you. Why didn't you help me through this karma? Still meditation. Whatever makes you think of the master is meditation. To meditate upon the master means that you are thinking about the master's association with what's happening now. It's all good as meditation. When the 5 words retain the image, that is the master. When the face disappears, it is not. Yes, Dwight, I was wondering what happened to Dwight today. The listening of the sound inside is of 2 kinds. One, listening to a sound being generated by the body. There are some very obvious sounds, like gurgling in the belly, like sound of breathing. These are obvious sounds and they interfere. These do not help you, because if while you are trying to hear the sound behind your eyes and your stomach is doing gurgle, gurgle, your attention goes to the stomach and not behind the eyes. Or the breathing, people who have been doing pranayama for a long time have a very big difficulty. I have seen people taking 6 months or more to be able to focus attention behind the eyes just because they practiced pranayama, breathing exercises for a long time. They were concentrating their attention on the breath, little realizing that by doing that, they are holding themselves in the lower chakras. So that is why breathing, it becomes itself, the sound of breathing itself becomes an obstacle to concentration of attention. These are external sounds. Then when you are trying to really withdraw your attention, even other sounds, like the sound of the heart palpitation, can be heard. Not only that, you can eventually even hear the sounds of blood vessels. The blood going through your body can be heard in the head. So those sounds come from different sides. And none of them are considered to be the sound of consciousness. There's the sound of created bodies around. The sound of the creative consciousness does not come from any side. It comes from within you. Therefore, it comes when you are centered behind the eyes. Supposing the sound, any sound that you think is real, can be heard, and you try to focus on it, that means move toward the sound will disappear. Yeah. So if it is real sound, it will not become louder because you are focusing on it. Because our tendency to focus on something is to take our attention there. And when the sound can be heard and you want to move from the center in order to hear the sound better, sound disappears or becomes weak. Therefore, the secret is that if you hear a sound and you move from it, it becomes weak. You know it's a real sound then, but stay centered. Do not follow the sound. How do you stay? By not focusing on the sound at all, listening to it from the same position in the center, without moving, without having a feeling that you have to bend toward the sound. Listening to the sound from the center and allowing the sound to come to you rather than you going to the sound. The beauty of these real sounds is that you do not hear only one sound. You hear a series of sounds, and you can hear one sound seems to be closer to you than the other. That one can be heard now, behind that there's another sound coming up. You can give your attention to the series of sounds that come one after the other, and that will give you progress, and ultimately the bell sound will really pull you up and make you forget all other sounds. But the secret is not to try to focus, but to relax in the center. Be more conscious of your location, which is the center in the head behind the eyes, than trying to go toward the sound. There are, of course, about 10 or 12 kinds of other sounds which come, which are mental sounds. They are sounds that are coming from created entities inside. Need not be physical. There are a lot of physical sounds. Then there are astral sounds also. The astral sounds are created entities in the astral world, and those sounds can be like imaginary sounds, like they can be resembling thunder, for example. You can feel there is thunder going on. There is no thunder outside, but you feel you are hearing thunder. You feel there is a railroad next to you and a rail is just crossing. Similar sound can be heard. A truck is passing. You can hear those sounds. You can hear sound of bird chirping. You can hear sound of crickets chirping. You can hear the sound of the cicada. What are they called? That they come once in 17 years. Cicadas. You hear the sound of cicadas. You hear the sound of little bells tinkling. These sounds are astral sounds, but not sound of consciousness. They are sounds of created entities around consciousness. They are good for practice. Just for practicing how to stay within and listen to sound, they are called good practice sounds. But they do not have the pull which the inner sound of your own consciousness can do, and the earliest form is a big bell sound. It's not a small bell sound, it's a big bell sound. That has a pull in it. And you can immediately feel how quickly it concentrates you into yourself. You will notice if you want to try to hear the bell sound and it disappears, it's a real bell sound. If you try not to hear it, but just to distinguish it from other sounds, a little art involved in that. That you try to just keep with the sound, not go anywhere, not try to go towards it, stay in the center, and then the sound automatically starts coming to you. The bell sound also comes and goes. Even the radiant form of the master in the beginning, you will be able to see glimpses and goes. It comes and goes. Looks like it's coming from a distance, you want to approach it, it goes. You don't approach it, it comes. You will realize after some practice that what is causing this to happen is not the appearance of these sounds and images. What's happening is that you are thinking more and more about your own center and not about outside things. And when you get absorbed in watching what is going on, what's happening here, but not move, then the sounds go up and your concentration goes up. The eyes only roll back because our tendency is to roll the eyes, our tendency to see with these eyes. Actually, these eyes are not involved at all. It's only a natural tendency that makes you feel like that. But at some point, the sound can be strong enough to make you forget about the eyes, strong enough to completely make you forget about the breathing sounds, completely forget about all external sounds. So that sound has a quality of pull. It lifts you very quickly from your physical frame. It makes you feel that you are off into another sky. And it overwhelms you. If it comes too quickly, it can frighten you. For a person who is not used to it, and if it came very suddenly, it can be sort of a frightful experience. Therefore, the masters have normally arranged that you get these experiences stage by stage slowly. So you get used to one level, then you move to the next level. They don't rush you through it. We are impatient people. We want to make quick progress. The masters are very patient people. They are in no hurry at all. How come that we are anxious to go on the spiritual path and go back home, and the masters say, come on, take it easy. There's no hurry. What's the hurry about it? Because from the master's point of view, their perspective, you have been here for millions of years. We're talking of a few short years, maybe a few short lifetimes here. From their perspective, it's a very short time. And we think this life is our only life, and these few months are only time. And then we have to hurry through these few months. So the time perspective is very different. And the masters know that once you are zapped through initiation, there is no way you will not go to Sachkhand. They are not saying, oh, do something, otherwise you don't know, you may miss the bus. They know you're already boarded the bus. How can you miss a bus when you boarded it? There was an old man once, he boarded a bus in New Delhi, and there was a seat available for him to sit down. And everybody said, sir, wouldn't you like to sit down? He said, no, I'm in a hurry. What good is being in a hurry on the bus? We are in that state sometimes. After initiation, you're on the bus. And therefore, the driver knows he is going to take you to the destination. And you are in a hurry about the seat that you are on. Makes no difference to the driver. So patience is good for us because these experiences we are going to have after such a long time. We don't even have memory of these experiences in the past. So they look like new experiences to us. And there is a very subtle opening, very subtle way these experiences open up to us. They open as glimpses. Just we have one glimpse of it. Say, that was great, we saw that. And then it looks, that was very easy. And we try to do it again and again, never happens. First day was easy. You remember your friend had a nod, and he was flying over the universe and he saw things, and he said, this was so easy. All he said was, can I have it? And he got a nod. Yes, and he just got it. He tried for 20 years after that. He couldn't get it. So this mind's ego thinks, I got it. They don't realize that the master has just given a sampling to base a basic faith that there is something inside, and you've already seen some of it, you'll get more. This is after the last question. Yeah. Anyway, very last. Then there'll be the last test also. This is the very last question, right? After that will be the last test question. Oh yes. Once you get used to hearing the sound will be with you all the time. Whether you're walking, talking, anything. You can hear it all the time. That sound never hurts. That sound, even at the loudest pitch, is in such a different dimension of yours that if in the midst of the loud sound of whirling of bells around you, you drop a little pin here, you can hear the pin drop. There's no connection between the two ears. When it affects the body, it's called tinnitus. It's a problem with the ears. That's not the real sound. The real sound does not have that effect. The real sound does not create an impact on the body. The real sound has no shrillness in it. It has no edge that hurts. It is very smooth and very soft, and it does not hurt at all. And even at a very high pitch, you can hear it without these ears being involved at all. That's the last test. Well, I always do that. When I give an answer, it creates more questions. But that Pete have. Yeah, he is bringing up the same issue. The difference between tinnitus and the sound of consciousness is that the tinnitus has a sharp edge to it. And the internal sound does not have it. There's a very big difference. It's a very melodious, it has got a melodious edge to it, and it's not hurtful at all. No, you can mistake it. You can mistake it for the sound, but once you know this is different, it does not stop you in the way. No, that's not tinnitus, but that's a practice sound. Even the practice sounds can cause that. Therefore, even for practice sounds, it is best to go gradually on it. These sounds do not have a pull. These sounds, because they are occurring in what is called the astrophysical overlap. They affect the body, and therefore they are created entities outside of the self. Like these sounds of the heartbeat or the breathing is from the physical body. There are sounds like that from the astral body, which are also sounds of the body surrounding the self. But they are not the sound that pull you to within. But they can be loud. And there are many experiences. People have experiences of demons and monsters and so on. And so people have experiences of all kinds, which are in the overlap. People are living, and they can be walked into by other entities which are non-living. There's so many other things that happen in life that can be very interfering for you. So life is not that simple like it looks. There are many complex things within the astrophysical overlap. That's what I'm saying. The Bibi Rakhi, such an enlightened soul, with so much practice in the Dera. She had so much practice that one day, she was our neighbor, immediate neighbor to our house, and we all knew that she was going into higher levels of consciousness, that she was traveling in the astral plane on a regular basis. She could see the great master whenever she wanted. She was really a very wise, enlightened soul. And one day she was screaming. She was screaming that she can't stand it. We thought something, a hysterical attack has taken over. So we ran to great master and told her the baby is screaming and crying. He came quickly. And he said, "Bibi, why are you crying?" She wouldn't answer us. But she answered the master. And she said, "I have gone into hell." What kind of hell? And she described the torture going on there. It affected her so badly that not only in her meditation she was crying physically with the body. And she was screaming, and the master said, "Why don't you get out? Is anybody hurting you?" She says, "No." "Then why are you crying?" "I can't even see other people being hurt so badly here. I traveled into one of the hells." "Why did you go there?" "Out of curiosity, to see what it's like, if it's real or not." "Then come out. Say your Simran." And she said, after years and years of practice, I've forgotten my Simran. It is so bad here, I've even forgotten the 5 words. Then Master said, great Master said, can you hear my voice? He says, yes, follow my voice and come out. And she opened her eyes and came out. And then Master explained that sometimes curiosities can not only kill cats, they can cause a lot of problems for human beings too. And therefore, it is best not to be curious about many events that are in the astrophysical overlap. These are in that area where you can be affected. And the best thing is to remember your Simran. And those events can take place when you can even forget the Simran. So, best is not to stray too much into these things, but wait patiently for establishing the image of the Master inside. And always go, all your trekking, all your adventures inside, go with the Master. Don't try it alone. I relate to that, it happened to me. I used to see a big, tall, 7-8 foot old monster thump dancing in the early morning. When I used to wake, I was just maybe 4, 5 years, 6 years old. And at that age, I used to see that, and I would shout, go away, and I would be awake, but I couldn't open my eyes. And my parents would come and say, you are dreaming. I'm not dreaming, I can hear you. How am I dreaming? But this monster won't go away. And so it happened every day for 7 or 8 days. Then they went to Great Master and complained there's something. Great Master said, oh, that's the dance of Kal, don't worry, it's a negative power. It won't come again. Never came again. It had experience for about 7 days. Of course these things happen. Especially children are very susceptible to, they are not trained to ignore this. We have hardened our minds, and therefore we have no astral experiences. We just think the reality is outside, reality is physical, so we try to confine ourselves. Rest is all imaginary, dismiss it. That's how we are trained. But they still exist. And the Simran is the most powerful thing. When you want to check out, is it real, or even if it's not real, the negativity itself disappears before Simran. You repeat the 5 words, negativity runs from you. Sometimes it runs even without your repeating them. It will help them, yes. If one Satsangi does Simran, it helps all around them. It's so powerful. It depends if he's Casper or somebody else. It could be a friendly ghost. Maybe it's a disciple. When we say ghosts, we are referring to all disembodied bodies, or are we referring to only some of them? What do we mean by ghosts? Now I went to Bandara, 2nd of April last year. On 2nd of April last year, 3 ghosts sat next to me. Nobody could see them except one or 2 persons could see. I could see them, but I was not either frightened of them, nor did I let anybody else get frightened of them. Because they were lovely people. We had known them in their life. Just they were dead in their physical bodies. And they were fully alive in their astral bodies. And they had not gone anywhere else. They were still in the overlap. And they were just disembodied spirits come to attend a Bandara. So you can't call them the same kind of ghosts who have been bothering me or bothering our children. See, there's a difference. So there are all kinds of ghosts. There are bhoots and pretas. You have heard that bhoot and preta are 2 kinds of ghosts mentioned in our literature. A bhoot is a normal definition of ghost, is bhoot. That means a ghost that can move around and goes from place to place, roaming around, looking for some attachment, looking for expression, looking for walk-ins to have some physical experience again, because that disembodied spirit doesn't have a body. It tries to pick up a bowl of fruit, and the hand goes through and he can't even pick up. He wants to sit on a chair and he falls. Everything has become non-solid, and he feels very uncomfortable with that kind of life and wants to express himself or herself, whatever her sex, his sex was. So those ghosts that move around, we call them bhoots. And they are normally disembodied spirits who, after their death, have not moved either into a new form, new living form, or haven't gone to heaven or hell, but they have it in transit. They're in transit living around us. And these need not be necessarily human beings. Animals have. You can see animals, their spirits live. There are two cats in a house, and one passed away. The other cat kept looking, and even the owners could know that the disembodied cat is sitting there from the direction, because the other cat could see. The human beings could not see. But the cat could see, and from the cat's direction of vision, you could see where the other cat was. And then it tries to express itself. So in that very household, when a dog died, the cat who was roaming somewhere else arrived, and a meow of that cat could be heard very softly. And so this experience was reported to me. So I suggest to visit for sympathy, because the cats in their astral form do not function the same way like cats in their physical form, because they are then connected to their previous lifetimes also. So they have been human beings earlier, they have been cats, they have been different forms. So their consciousness operates a little differently than when they are tied up in a body of an animal. So there are so many kinds of disembodied spirits around. So we can't call them all ghosts of the same order, they are different. On the other hand, there are prets. The prets, bhoots are moving ghosts, and prets they are stranded at one place. Mostly these prets are stranded where there is an unnatural death, murder, suicide, some other unnatural death, not natural death. Those disembodied spirits who are so stranded at the place where the event took place in physical life, they stay there for what is called the notional remainder of their physical life, which is very strange, because although everything is predetermined, but in the predetermined Akashic records, it says this person should have a life growing from infant, childhood, old age, death at 89. Okay, there's it, death at 89. Karma works like this event, this accident, this thing free, this accident free for new karma to be created, gaps in between. And then suicide at age 69. What happens to the notional life that was 89? And the karma is creating a suicide at 69. Is he dead at 69? Or is he alive? So now to match both these together, the person in the physical body dies by suicide at 69 and is stuck there till 89 and will not move and will have the same experience as if that person is still there and is just pinned down there. So this concept of notional life and actual life, physical life in the physical body, is pre-recorded in the Akashic records themselves. It's very interesting, because that means that although we think that life is what we spend in the physical body, the life in the physical world is not based on the life in the physical body. It can be more than that. So when the physical death takes place, if that was not the time for your regular death, then you are still spending the remainder of your time in the same physical environment. Till the regular death takes place, then you move on. It depends on the soul. It depends. Some disembodied spirits love it. That we are disciples of a master, we're just waiting to go into a higher body, or just waiting for master to take us higher. They will love it. And the others are scared, negative are scared. So there are negative and positive embodied spirits, disembodied spirits. Okay? Yes, BB. Good, very good. No, my dad had a lot of experiences of that kind, yes. He had strange experiences, and he was the first in our whole family to get initiated from Great Master when he was a student in college. So he told all these stories, and our whole family became satsangis afterwards. But he had a lot of experiences. First time he heard the sound, he got scared. He felt that he was dying. He said, I am dying? What is this meditation he's taught me? I am not going to do it again. Then he went to Great Master and he said, I tried to do meditation like you told me, and I was being pulled out like I'm going to die. Is that the method? He said, no, you won't die. But it is experience of dying. It's experience of dying. As you would die, you would have similar experience. But take it easy. You went too fast. Don't worry. Take it step by step. Then my dad said, but I'm frightened. This first experience has not been great for me. I was looking forward to some wonderful experience of seeing heavens and all that. And not that I'm going to die by meditation. Then Great Master said, if you die, let's imagine you die. He said, so far as I know, not a single person during meditation has ever physically died. Not a one. So that's some evidence that you don't die in meditation. Even if your death is near, it's postponed because you're in meditation. They give you a chance. So that's a big thing. Yeah, therefore some yogis are sitting in the mountains. They say we live forever because we meditate forever, so that we can't die. But he said, if you die, let's imagine you die, what do you expect to see? Don't you expect that I'll be there to receive you and take care of you? Don't you see that I am with you, and the moment you're close to death, I will be with you? Then he got some confidence back and he went on to meditation with very good success. So these initial things happen. He was once traveling by train, and he had a strange habit of getting down on the railroad stations and going to have some drink of water or something, and when the train was moving, then he would get on to it. He learnt the art of running along with the train and jumping in. So once he did that, it was cold weather, very cold, and he jumped, but the people had locked the door from inside. So he couldn't get in. He tried to knock. The train's sound was so loud, he couldn't jump. He tried to see if he can. He saw the next coach with so much gap in between. That door was open. He said, at this running train, if I were to jump, I'll die. There's no chance. Why is Master putting me through this exercise? Maybe he's telling me don't try the stunt again of going on running trains. But then, when he was so frightened of the cold weather chilling him, freezing him, and not being able to open the door, and he's hanging on to the handle outside, and he said, I have to take a jump. And he saw Great Master standing on the other coach. He said, here's my hand, come. And he felt so confident, he jumped and got the handle, got it. So he had a lot of experiences of this kind. And Bibi Lajo knew all those, and she was able to relate many of them to our Bibi Rajkumari here. So that's why Rajkumari is now a storehouse of these old stories. So if you spend time with her, she'll tell you stories. Okay, now we have a few minutes. Okay, sit upright in your chairs. Consider that this body of yours is not you, but your house. You live in this body. This body has 6 floors, starting from the bottom and going up. There's a floor right at the bottom, at the genitals, in the nabi, near the navel, near the heart, near the throat, all levels. And the 6th floor is behind the eyes. You are sitting in this house, in the 6th floor, behind the eyes. Just concentrate on being there. Do your Simran, listen to sounds, think of nothing else but being there and waiting for the Master. Keep your eyes closed till I count 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes. Welcome back. Welcome back. Thank you very much for joining me today. Thank you very much.